Hello friends, in case you didn't know, I live in Kyiv, and here, as well as throughout Ukraine, sirens have become a commonplace. Almost every citizen has an app with an air raid alert map installed on their phone. Let me show you what this map looks like. At the moment I'm recording this video, there are air raid alerts in half of Ukraine's regions. If you click on one of these regions, you can see the time at which the alert started, as well as the history of the previous days. As you can see, the alarms are sounding several times a day. Everyone has gotten used to them, and not every time the sirens are followed by explosions. I'll say a few words when these sirens start to go on. There are two main reasons. It is either when missiles are launched from the warships from the Black and Caspian Seas, or when military planes that can carry cruise missiles take off in Belarus or on the Russian front line. Since it's not initially known where the missile is going when it's launched, the alarm starts to sound in the areas closest to the missile. As the rocket flies over the territory of Ukraine, the siren starts to sound in more and more regions. In most cases, the sirens manage to warn about the missile an hour before it reached your city, and the citizens have time to hide in a shelter. But on January 14, something happened that had never happened in Kyiv before. At 6 a.m., about 5 rockets hit the city, without any sirens to warn of them. In fact, the siren was turned on after the explosion had already occurred. Consequently, none of the missiles flying towards the target were intercepted by air defense. This really frightened the residents of the city, who were used to be warned about missiles and given time to hide. After the 14th, it became clear that explosions could happen at any time. But why did this happen, and is the threat really that serious? There are 3 types of missiles that Russia most often uses to fire at Ukraine: Kh-111, Kh-555 and Kh-55 rocket, which is a nuclear missile but without a nuclear warhead. It is used as a deception to deplete Ukrainian defense. All these rockets are cruise missiles. That is, they can fly like an airplane and maneuver to avoid air defense systems. However, they are easily detected and fly at subsonic speeds, which gives time to react to the launch. Another type of rocket that Russia sometimes uses is a ballistic missile. It can be compared to a rock that is launched 30 miles into a stratosphere and then falls down to its target at a tremendous speed. This speed can be several times higher than the speed of sound. It is for this reason that this type of missile is practically impossible to shoot down by Ukrainian air defense. Russia actively used missiles of this type, called Iskander, at the beginning of the war. However, in recent months, due to the depletion of stocks, they have almost stopped doing so. And now, looking for new opportunities to strike, Russia has done something it has never done before. It began to use missiles called S-400 that were specifically developed for air defense systems. Since these rockets were designed to intercept enemy warheads, they, like ballistic missiles, can fly at a breakneck speed of almost 3,000 miles per hour, and also cannot be shot down by Ukrainian air defense. But that's not all. Russia launches these missiles from the very border with Ukraine, and because of the enormous speed, it took only 3 minutes from launch to target. Not only the air defense systems unable to shut them down, but this time is not even enough to set off the city's alarm sirens. In theory, the Patriot, which is capable of shooting down supersonic missiles, can cope with the problem. However, the trouble is that Patriot had never shot down an S-400 missiles in its history. There was simply no such experience, and it is not known how it will work in practice. And as for the changes at the front over the past day, Ukrainian troops launched an attack in the village of Novoselivske. This is an important place that opens up a further way to advance on Svatove, although it's still a long way off. Russian troops have intensified their activity in the Zaporizhia sector, and launched an assault near the village of Hulepole. More details about the situation on this front will be available tomorrow when official reports or video confirmation appear. As I said in my previous video, in this region the Russians have gathered large forces in expectation of the Ukrainian offensive, which has been planned for a long time. And now, in absence of the active actions by Ukraine, they are trying to use the gathered forces for their own attack. And of course, the most active fighting is now taking place near Bakhmut. Russian troops are concentrating their efforts on capturing the village of Kyiv to be able to reach one of the two main routes to supply Bakhmut and take the city into semi-encirclement. There are conflicting statements about who controls Kyiv. Earlier it was reported that the Russians had captured the village. Later, there were reports of a successful counteroffensive by Ukrainians who managed to put the Russians back from some of the streets. And finally, I want to show you a video of Ukrainian pilots working on Russian positions. At the end of the video, the pilot sharply raises the nose of the helicopter for a longer range shooting. And that's all for today. Tomorrow, guys, will be new update and more news from the front line. So subscribe, leave a comment and leave a like. Live in peace.